The topic for Lesson 6.1 is proportions. You will write ratios and use the properties of proportions. How do artists use ratios? Stained glass artist Louis Comfort Timpany used geometric shapes in his designs. In a portion of Clematis skylight, shown at the right, rectangular shapes are used as the background for flowers and vines. Tiffany also used ratio and proportion in the design of this piece. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. The ratio of A to B can be expressed as A over B, where B is not 0. This ratio can be also written as A to B. The total number of students who participate in sports programs at Central High School is 520. The total number of students in the high school is 1,850. Find the athlete to student ratio to the nearest tenth. Okay, we have 520 athletes to 1,850 total students. When I type that in the calculator, I get 0.28108 and so on. The direction said to round to the nearest tenth, so that would be about 0.3. In a triangle, the ratio of the measures of the three sides is 5 to 12 to 13, and the perimeter is 90 centimeters. Find the measure of the shortest side in the triangle. So the first thing we're going to have to find is what that factor is they're multiplying everything by. So if we had a fraction that was, 2/4, we could reduce it by dividing by 2, would be 1/2. I know what they had in common. They both had a 2. And this one, I don't know what's going to be in common to multiply by to get the 90. So I'm going to have 5x, representing my unknown, plus 12x plus 13x equals 90. To solve the equation, I need to add like terms. So we get 30x equals 90. If we divide both sides by 30, we have x equals 3. So now that I know my factor, I can take 5 is the shortest side times 3, and I get 15. If we wanted to go ahead and check, I could get my other two sides. So 12 times 3 and 13 times 3. And add them and make sure they add up to 90, which they do. An equation stating that two ratios are equal is called a proportion. Equivalent fractions set equal to each other form a proportion. Since 2/3 and 6/9 are equivalent fractions, 2/3 equals 6/9 is a proportion. Every proportion has two cross products. The cross products in 2/3 equals 6/9 are 2 times 9 and 3 times 6. The extremes of the proportion are 2 and 9. The means are 3 and 6. For any numbers a and c, and any non-zero numbers b and d, a over b equals c over d, if and only if a times d equals b times c. Remember that if and only if means the definition goes both ways. So if it's proportional, we can multiply 4 times 15, I say numerator times denominator, equals 12 times 5, numerator times denominator. To solve the proportion, 6 over 18.2 equals 9 over y, we're going to multiply 6y equals 9 times 18.2. So 9 times 18.2 is 163.8. We divide both sides by 6. I get y equals 27.3. Okay, part B is a little bit more of an interesting question. Do numerator times denominator. We're going to have 24x minus 30 equals numerator times denominator, negative 78. Add 30 to both sides. 24x equals negative 48. Divide by 24. x equals -2. A boxcar on a train has a length of 40 feet and a width of 9 feet. A scale model is made with a length of 16 inches. Find the width of the model. Okay, we can make a proportion to solve that. So we're going to set up length to width. You could set up width to length, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put 40 is to 9 as, that was in my actual, and then length in the model was 16, and then we're trying to find the width. So we're going to do cross products. So we'd have 40x equals 16 times 9 is 144. Divide both sides by 40, and x equals 144 divided by 40 is 3.6. And this was in inches, so my units are going to be in inches. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal, and we can solve proportions using cross products.